It is true that Brittney Griner, once elected to not stand for the national anthem, particularly with the whole racial justice issues percolating throughout this country a few years back, during COVID, I might add. That is true. But is 10 months in a Moscow prison enough? Alex Stein, is that enough?
The WNBA just got rocked with a bombshell nobody saw coming, and the internet is spinning out of control. Stephen A. Smith went live and dropped Brittney Griner's name in the middle of a wild conversation about a so-called DNA test. And let's just say, the WNBA commissioner is fuming behind the scenes. Now, I'm not here to push fairy tales with no proof. I'm breaking down exactly what Stephen A. said, how fans are blowing this up online, and why this might turn into one of the ugliest PR disasters the league has faced in years.
I do think it's important to understand that there are millions of Americans who may not say anything, but do share his position. You were in the United States. You didn't want to stand for the national anthem. You wanted to protest some of the things that were going on in this country, which is obviously and totally your right. The flip side, however, is that there are an abundance of people, including many, because I know a few in the military who feel this way.
And it gets even juicier, because Brittney Griner is no stranger to front-page scandals. From her shocking Russia arrest to the emotional release that had the whole world watching, she's been through storms before.
What's your mood?
Happy.
Happy? Well, are you ready for a flight?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. But this is pulling the entire WNBA into the fire, and the commissioner's silence is making people scream for answers.
So rivalries are generally good for sports. In women's sports, sometimes it's complicated by the social media vitriol, which we denounce. It's terrible what some of these players have to endure. And so the hatred, the vitriol, the misogyny, the homophobia, the racism, there's no place for it in sport, and we like to be known in sport as a big uniter. So that's the negative part of that, but the positive certainly has been that people are watching. I mean, we brought tens of millions of new people into our sport last year.
The real question now isn't just, is this DNA test even real? But how much more drama can the WNBA survive before sponsors, fans, and even other players demand the truth? The tension is sky high, and the whispers online are only getting louder. And here's the spark that lit the flame. Stephen A. Smith, yes, that's Stephen A., ESPN's loudest voice, looked right into the camera and casually threw Brittney Griner's name into a heated debate about honesty in sports. Out of nowhere, he linked her time in Russia to a supposed DNA test overseas, and then hinted that certain details were never revealed to the public.
Athletes, all athletes, transgender athletes be able to play.
Oh, I mean, that ranks high on the list of things that I'll be fighting for and speaking up against. You know, everyone deserves the right to play.
And instantly, you could feel the air change. This wasn't some faceless Twitter troll stirring the pot or a random Reddit rumor floating in the dark. This was Stephen A. Smith, with millions locked in on live TV, planting that seed in front of the whole world. The way he dropped it, he never flat out confirmed the story, but he didn't deny it either. He dangled it like fresh bait, and within minutes, clips were blowing up TikTok and X with fans screaming, "Did he just say that on national TV?" That's the exact nightmare the WNBA wanted to avoid, because once a powerhouse like Stephen A. repeats a rumor, especially one that's been buried and debunked before, it suddenly feels brand new again. And here's where the real trouble started. The spotlight shifted immediately to one person, WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert.
You know, when I came into the league, people watch sports for three basic reasons: for rivalries, for games of consequence, and for household names, if you know the players. And we didn't have a lot of household names, even though we had amazing players back then and have amazing players beyond Caitlin and Angel.
Now, if you don't know, Cathy isn't just some suit in the office. She's the league's very first commissioner, the mastermind behind expansion plans, big-time sponsorships, and the rebranding that's supposed to finally put the WNBA on the global map. She's been the face of the hustle, fighting to drag the league into primetime respect. But now, her silence is speaking louder than words. Not a single press release, not even a throwaway, "We're aware of the chatter?" Nothing. And when you stay quiet during a storm this big, fans don't calm down. They smell smoke and start asking what's burning. Already, people online are saying her silence looks like panic mode because if the commissioner herself can't squash a rumor that's already been killed off before, what does that say about the league's image? And here's the craziest twist. The WNBA is supposed to be riding its biggest glow-up ever. New sponsors, new arenas, and new fans pouring in. But now all anybody wants to talk about is this scandal Stephen A. just dragged back into the light. Ratings shot through the roof, up more than 170%. The WNBA just added its first new franchise since 2008, the Golden State Valkyrie. And for once, the headlines weren't about empty seats or failing teams. It was about sold-out arenas, viral plays, and serious sponsor money pouring in. Networks were finally giving women's basketball the shine it's been fighting for, and the hype finally felt real. But instead of the internet celebrating the Valkyrie's debut or hyping Aja Wilson as she chases a third MVP, guess what's trending? Brittney Griner, her voice, her body, and a wild conspiracy about some Russian DNA test with zero receipts behind it. It's almost like the league's biggest breakthrough moment is being hijacked by its messiest scandal. And the internet? They ran with it like wildfire. Just as the WNBA was celebrating its big opening week, a random courtside clip of Brittney Griner exploded online. Nothing crazy was even happening. She was just chatting with somebody during the game.
Okay, explain. So you saved someone from...
We were off-roading, and this family flipped their side-by-side. They tried to stop it from flipping, put their legs out, and shin bone came through on the guy, and then the girl broke her ankle, and bone came through. Me and my friends would jump off, we flipped it back, help them out. I take my shirt off, wrap it around the girl's leg. It's like pulling out blood, and no one would help them. And like there was no cell reception, so we put them on our side-by-sides and we drove them out. And then we waited with them until the ambulances.
When was this?
This was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. No.
Oh my God. And
crazy.
Are you're okay with blood and all the cool stuff?
Yeah.
You have to be.
Yeah, I am.
Oh my God.
With that, yeah.
Was that the last time you felt like a hero?
Yeah, I really felt like a hero in that moment.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a crazy story.
But the mic picked up her deep voice, and suddenly TikTok and X had millions of views in hours. Comments were pouring in, and most weren't kind. Now, here's the thing. Anybody who's followed Brittney over the years knows this isn't some new revelation. She's always had that voice. She's talked about it openly, and it's been part of her story since she was a teenager. But to casual viewers who don't know her history, that short clip was shocking, and the way people reacted online said everything. The comments got brutal. People online were quick to say, "Yeah, that's a dude. He gets to dunk on women all day and then shower with them in the locker room. This nonsense has to end." Trolls piled on with others writing things like, "That's a dude." Never once did I think otherwise, using it as supposed proof to push the same tired conspiracy Stephen A. had just dragged back into the spotlight. And of course, they weren't done there. Right after the voice clip went viral, haters went digging for more. Suddenly, an old poolside video of Brittney Griner shirtless started circulating again. The same clip that's been floating around the internet for years. Every time her name trends, this footage gets recycled like it's brand new, and this time was no different.
Swag you, Brittney. Let me see something real quick. Brick! Thank you! Get the out of here, yo! Yo! Jab stepping, Mr. Brick. Swing and a miss! Oh! Yo, I ain't gonna fake it right now.
Fans rushed to defend her, but trolls doubled down, twisting it into more fuel for the same conspiracy. Once again, her body was getting dragged into headlines instead of her actual game with Atlanta. And here's where it all circles back: Russia. Everyone remembers 2022 when Brittney was arrested at a Moscow airport for vape cartridges, hit with a 9-year sentence, and thrown into a global political storm. The world watched as she became the center of an international prison swap, and every detail of her life was put under a microscope. But here's the piece that always gets lost in the chaos. Brittney has already spoken on this way before Russia and way before Stephen A. ever mentioned her name. Back in 2015, she sat down for an ESPN feature and opened up about her voice. She revealed how it had always been deeper than other girls her age and how as a kid it made her hate the way she sounded. She's been transparent for years, but trolls keep twisting the same narrative every chance they get. She's been honest about it for years. Kids used to mock her for being tall, for not developing the way other girls did, and for having a deeper voice. That wasn't gossip. That was her reality. It's something she's carried since her teenage years, and if you've ever read or watched her interviews, you can see how much it cut her. Brittney even admitted that sometimes she avoided speaking in public settings because she didn't want to hear the cruel jokes that always followed. Fast forward nearly a decade, and not much has changed. In 2024, she dropped her memoir, Coming Home, where she ripped the bandage off completely and went even deeper into the pain of growing up in a body the world never let her just exist in. She wrote about the endless taunts over her height, her chest, and of course her voice, remembering how kids told her she sounded like a grown man before she was even in high school. That kind of trauma sticks, and it shows why this latest controversy hits so hard. And that's exactly what makes Stephen A.'s slip so brutal. When he casually threw out that DNA test line, he wasn't just tossing shade at some random player, he was reopening a wound Brittney's been carrying her whole life. For her, this isn't just about rumors. It's about a lifetime of being picked apart and turned into a punchline when all she ever wanted was to hoop and be respected for her game. He's dragging up the exact wound Brittney has spoken about in her own words for years, and that's what makes this hit so different. This isn't some random rumor out of nowhere. This is reopening pain she's already explained, already lived through, and already survived. And now, with Stephen A. Smith tossing it back into the spotlight, Kathy Engelbert has zero room to hide. Remember, Engelbert isn't just another exec behind a desk. She's the face of the WNBA, the woman who's been selling this as the league's breakout season. She's the one telling networks and sponsors, this is the moment. She's the one pointing to rising ticket sales and packed arenas as proof the WNBA is finally stepping into the future of women's sports. But now, those headlines about the Golden State Valkyries' debut and Caitlin Clark's record-breaking ratings are getting buried under one single story. Brittney Griner's body, her voice, and a rumor Stephen A. just handed the entire world. And the silence from the league, it's deafening. The question isn't if the WNBA has to respond, it's how long can they stall before the silence itself becomes the scandal. 2025 was supposed to be the year the WNBA leveled up, the year brands poured in money, the year fans filled arenas, the year they finally shook off the tired old nobody watches narrative. But instead, Brittney Griner is once again the center of a storm. And this time, it's not about her stats, her comeback, or her game. It's about a controversy that the commissioner hoped was buried for good. And that's the danger here. If the WNBA doesn't shut this down, this season won't be remembered for Valkyrie sellouts or MVP runs. It'll be remembered as the year the league's biggest breakthrough got overshadowed by one scandal that should have never been dragged back in the first place. So what happens next? That's what everyone's waiting to see. Like, share, and subscribe to Public Secrets, because trust me, this story is far from over.